Good afternoon, my News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, Silo to Balclava Road in St. Elizabeth impassable after section collapses. The main road between Silo and Balclava in St. Elizabeth is now impassable after the roadway broke apart on Thursday afternoon during heavy rains. Motorists have resorted to using Canepiece Road, but there are concerns that the roadway is also in a deplorable condition. There are concerns that a bridge along the Canepiece Road is narrow and it cannot accommodate larger vehicles. Several schools in the area will be affected. Among them are Roger Clark High, Magotty High, Sydney Pagan STEM Academy, and the Silo Primary School. Councillor for the Silo Division, Audie Myers, expressed the frustration that he had brought the defective roadway to the attention of the NWA for more than 2 years. He said that the collapsed roadway could have been prevented if it was given attention earlier. The councillor added that the alternate route will pose a challenge to motorists because it can become impassable when it rains heavily, and the road is lonely and lacks lighting, making it dangerous for travel, especially at night.
I'm so disappointed. You know, after 2 years we have been appealing. When the road was like, when the first road was like this, nothing happened, and see everybody's in two today. Now thousands of commuters are being affected as we speak. The alternative route is to go over Windsor Bridge and go on the White Road and come back to the Canepiece and cover the flat bridge. But there's a problem with that also. Two things. One, if it rains heavily, you cannot cross. If you come, you can't cross. And my next main issue, it's a lonely road. Very lonely road where there's no lighting, and in the night it is dangerous because we know what's happening in Jamaica today. What that crime is on the loose, and I don't want nobody to get robbed. And that the day is not too bad because we're going to go to KSB, but in the night it is low. I will urge the authorities to make haste and find the money wherever it come from, because we have people who pay taxes.
McKay Mulgrave, a teacher at the Roger Clark High School, also expressed a concern that the collapsed roadway between Silo and Balclava will affect the commute of hundreds of students even as they prepare for their examinations.
We have students preparing for CXC exam. They're currently working on their SBAs now. We have several high school students that will be affected. We have students that traverse this, several students, hundreds of students traverse this road on a daily basis.
They are calling for an urgent fix to the issue. Frustration for residents after Bushy Park footbridge washed away in floodwaters. Floodwaters in Bushy Park, St. Catherine on Tuesday washed away a footbridge that was erected by residents after the original bridge was destroyed during the passage of Hurricane Beryl in July. The wooden structure provided a temporary relief for residents who found the alternate route through Amity Hall to be longer, more costly, and unsafe. They also complained that the road is in a poor state. Up to late Wednesday night, several residents were contemplating their route home with the makeshift bridge gone. Marie, whose house was inundated by floodwaters, says the National Water Commission pipeline, which supplies the community, was also washed away.
The pipe break from the bridge, the pipe wash away from the bridge. Up by the bridge, so nobody know that the citizens out there, we don't have any domestic water.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you feel, like how your footbridge gone and you'll have to travel extra mile, to extra miles, to...
Very, very congested because we could have go across the bridge, take the taxi go by gutters, whereas we have to go around that side. Very difficult because at night you have things go around there. And we have to pay excess money to get around there. Very difficult. So it's like we living in Port Royal now. We're surrounded by the water.
Another resident, who also bemoaned the added difficulty in getting home, told the news that a new bridge is urgently needed.
Can't get home, man. Terrible for man. Yeah, for most of the people in park right here and walk across, but now that they don't have that right now for to check out it. Look on. You don't want a good bridge. You want a good bridge for the community. But when everything comes now, you just back up right there as well you see. So you just want a good bridge, just everything can pass, go down.
Indicom insists that body-worn cameras should be used in police operations. The Independent Commission of Investigations is adamant that body-worn cameras should be used by the police despite the strong defense by National Security Minister Dr. Harris Chang against its use during police operations to apprehend the criminals. Dr. Chang maintains that the cameras have little value in homicide incidents and their primary benefit is the maintenance of public order. But Indicom Commissioner Hugh Faulkner says the use of the cameras is necessary to provide a clear version of events involving police and the civilians.
From time to time, you would see contradiction between the public and law enforcement bodies, and we believe this leads to the erosion of trust. When you have an impartial and independent account taken by technology, then this can reduce the contradiction, conflict that arise and the erosion of trust. There are incidents where the body-worn camera would prevent you having just a one-sided account, which in some cases would be the law enforcement body. There are instances when your potential witness is deceased.
But the Jamaica Police Federation is recommending that personnel from Indicom accompany the police on special operations. Sergeant Arlene McBean, chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, said this would provide insight into the thinking of police officers in hostile situations.
You will not know until you detail one of your agents to join us in the operational field to observe the critical thinking of the police officer under gunfire. So whilst we have a policy within the JCF that guides the policemen and women on a daily basis to guide us how to operate, how to ensure that we give coverage of our interaction with the citizens, it is important to understand the uniqueness of each case.
Customers affected by power outages due to Raphael will have light by Sunday, says the GPS. Electricity provider Jamaica Public Service is projecting that it will complete a full restoration of services to the less than 2,000 customers still without electricity as a result of Tropical Storm Raphael by Sunday, November 10. This projection comes as the company concludes its assessment of the damage to the electricity network caused by the heavy rains and the strong winds associated with the tropical storm. We were prepared and had activated our 24-hour incident command operations early so that our teams could start restoration work as soon as it was safe to do so. As a result, we were able to get the service back to most of our customers even before the full passing of the storm, said the JPS president and the chief executive officer, Hugh Grant. He explained that this final phase of the restoration process would be the most time-consuming. This is the difficult last mile when we tackle infrastructure that spans a very difficult terrain and isolated cases in affected communities, Grant said. We understand the inconvenience of being without electricity service for an extended period, and so our teams are laser focused on getting power back to the affected customers as safely and quickly as possible over the next 3 days. We are working with the relevant agencies to gain access to communities that have been blocked off by landslides, and we will not stop until every customer is back on the grid, Grant promised. JPS is reminding everyone that although the storm has passed, it is still important to take safety precautions to protect life and property. Members of the public are urged to drive carefully on wet and flooded roadways and to stay away from fallen poles and downed power lines. Reports can be made to GPS using the MyGPS mobile app, social media channels at the MyGPS online, or by calling 888-225-5577 or 888-CALL-GPS. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.